former Huskers, turning success in sport to success in business.
This is Eric Crouch. Here's how I went from red to black.
First of all, thanks for coming on our first episode of Red to Black. We appreciate it.
I'm happy to be part of it.
People that aren't from our state know who you are. People that are from our state, if they don't know who you are, they need to get out of our state. Pretty much. I'm just kidding.
You find there's a lot more that don't know, which is sometimes a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. And the farther you get away, how long has it been since you played in Nebraska?
2001 was my last season, so you're looking at 19, 20 years. So
yeah. So I'm sure now it's easier for you to walk around, go grocery shop, and people not coming up necessarily and wanting autographs all the time versus 2 or 3 years out. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, 2 or 3 years out, it's pretty hot, but it's amazing still how things, just out of the blue, where people, you kind of feel it happening, or looking at you or something or saying something, and it's like. Or the parents are pushing the kids, go, it's like, okay, it's fun though. And, the Nebraska fan base is just incredible. And the whole, football is a big part of life out here. And, I've really appreciated just people still remembering, 20 years ago. And I think they associate it with some really good times in Nebraska. And, I was really fortunate to be part of that, that run that Nebraska had in the 90s.
And talking about the amazing fan base, we'll get to that in a little bit when we start talking about the black side of this, your business. But you graduated from Millard North, and where did you go to middle school, grow up? What area?
So, good question. So 151st and Drexel is where I grew up, and it was just by John G. Neihart. Elementary school. I ended up going to Anderson Middle School. And then, I ended up transferring before I went to Millard North. So I ended up at Millard North, but I grew up in Millard South District. And, that's an interesting story because I was kind of headed down that, my choices weren't that great. Not that I was doing anything too stupid, but the normal teenager stuff, where you're testing your parents, sneaking out a couple times, probably doing stuff that my mom kind of looked at me and said, this isn't good. So let's get him to another school. And at that time, I don't know if how it worked specifically, but my mom actually worked as a cocktail waitress at the Holiday Lounge, and Fred Petito was a bartender there.
Okay.
So that's how they met. And the story that I know is that they get to talking at the end of the night, and they're, counting their money or splitting up stuff and doing that whole thing at the end of the night. The shift gets over with, and, Fred, starts saying, talk to my mom, hey, my son plays football. And he's like, well, shoot, send him to the camp, So he had a summer camp, and I ended up going to the camp. And next thing you know, I was going to Millard North. But, that's a long story short. But, the gist of it was that there was a lot of history with quarterbacks at Nebraska or at Millard North that they got scholarships, and, they got the ball, and they did well. And so I kind of took that route because I knew my skill set, was with my legs. And, I knew Millard South was a little bit different. They were going to throw the ball a little bit more. And gosh, now I kind of think about it, like throwing the ball would have been a little bit of fun, but my body over the years, like all the, geez,
it worked out.
I tell you what, I all joking aside, Fred Petito, the Millard program with the coaching staff and Mark Chavez and Bruce Reed, and the list goes on with just great guys that really, really care about the kids. And they're junkies. I mean, football junkies, that's their life, I mean, they just football all day and breathe it. And it makes you really focus. I'm looking at my son, and they're working out at 10 o'clock. I'm like, 10 o'clock. I'm like, I was up at 6 at the gym by 7 working out, and we were there for like 3 hours. He goes there at 10. It's like a different, so things have changed with football. It's more like protecting your body and making sure that you've got the energy all the time. Ours was old school. You wear yourself down and beat it down so that, you're ready. And
what do you think? I mean, obviously the old school was great for you.
I think there's a nice balance. I think we did overdo it. I think we did overdo it. We had 3 days. Now they don't have 2 days anymore, just one. So, those things, and it was worse before the old school stuff, way back. And so, where they're giving them salt tablets, I kind of passed that thing where, I think they were giving us like Gatorade pouches of electrolytes, which was just a salt tablet. Right. So, anyway, I really wanted to say that I enjoyed going to Millard North, and the high school experience was really good, running track and playing football and just all the work. And I mean, I was kind of I think I did well because I focused. I mean, I call it OCD, call it whatever you want. But I mean, when I wanted something, I really spent time doing it to accomplish it. And Millard North kind of gave me that opportunity because they were just like that.
So were there any hints of you being an entrepreneur, like either younger or in high school, like any lemonade stands or?
Yeah. Good question. So, really young, I collected football cards.
Okay.
And I used to set up a card shop in my garage, and all the kids would come by and we'd buy, sell, trade football cards. And
that's awesome.
and it was kind of a fun thing. But I never looked at it as being an entrepreneur at that time. I just loved football. So football cards. I had I have stacks and stacks of rookie cards from Marino and Elway and Montana. And I've got collections of quarterback pages, like page books of Elway and books of Montana, and my quarterbacks were like the cards that I wanted.
Are any of those in mint? Because that's retirement.
They're mint.
Oh my gosh, that's
several. And I shouldn't even be saying this because I'm probably
Darren Ravel just perked up somewhere.
So like there's a shop, and I drove by it the other day, and it still says like card shop. It's on Millard Ave. And that's the one that we used to ride our bike. I mean, I'd ride my bikes for miles to get to that card shop and start trading cards out and looking for the next QB card that I didn't have. The slot was empty. I've got to get that filled. So, head up to the card shop or buy another pack.
Did you know to keep them in mint condition because they're going to be worth something someday?
Yeah. I had the price guide. It said mint.
That's all.
I had the price list.
See, that's smart. I mean, you were thinking about that back then. I wasn't. I bent them.
Put them in the spokes.
Put them in the spokes.
Yeah. If I'm riding my bike 2 miles, I want the.
I had a couple that if I got some baseball cards or something, those
like
went
a Buddy Biancalana or something from Kansas City. Something nobody knows.
Or the air cards were worth the most.
Oh yeah.
Like you flip it over, it was the different player.
Mm-hmm.
But
remember, was it not, I don't know if it was Cal Ripken Jr. One of the juniors had that bat, and on the bottom of the bat it said F head.
Really?
Yeah, it said head on it.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. And it was on the photograph.
It was on the photograph in the baseball card, on the baseball card. And when they first came out, it was this huge deal. I think my dad paid like $200 for it. Now it's worth less than $3 on eBay. Wow. But I thought the air cards were the big ones to look for. Yeah.
So we go to Millard North. We get all of us together because we were all on this journey with you too. We go to Millard North, get the offer from Nebraska. What did you major in Nebraska? I couldn't find this anywhere.
Oh, it was exercise science.
Okay.
Yep. So I mean, I loved science and everything about it. Health. I grew up. My mom was in radiology and then went into ultrasound. And so I kind of grew up in the hospitals. Mm-hmm. So I thought maybe medicine might kind of be my route. I always appreciated that what the medical field, doctors and nurses and all the medical staff, I just appreciated what they did for a living, helping people. So I always thought that might be a route for me. I spent a little bit of time in the medical field, few years back and really enjoyed that work. But that's what kind of, steered me in that direction. But I actually have a funny story with that, the way you asked it. So business, right?
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
So I go into Lincoln and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to be a business major. Get to my, first classes. I'm like, there's no way in hell this ain't gonna work. It was like, I don't know what it was. It was like numbers on pages and spreadsheets, and it just wasn't really like, I'm like, I don't know about this. And so I dropped that real fast and joined the exercise science major, and I enjoyed that because I just found that taking care of your body and learning, the bones and the muscles was going to help me, know more about how my body would react and how to take care of it playing such a, tough game on your body. And I really, really am glad that I switched, but it's funny because then I get out of college and a year later I buy a business.
Right.
I'm like, maybe that semester did help me out a little bit. I don't know. Nah, I didn't. I'm just going to have to learn this on the fly.
Sometimes that's easier. You don't know what you don't know. You get in, you just dive in.
Oh yeah.
Just dive in. Yeah.
So I'm glad it worked out that way because I really did enjoy my major and learned a lot, and you can do a lot with it.
What originally attracted you about the business degree?
For me, I just, I think being a quarterback, just that mind of, I don't know, being the leader. You always think like, maybe there's a chance I'm going to want to own my own business someday. And so that's pretty much what I felt I was going to do. Maybe own my own business, go into, there was a few options. Obviously, the dream was to be in the NFL forever and ever until you're 90.
Right.
Just, how often does that happen? Not very often. So, I just kind of learned on the fly and it worked out. And, I don't know. Sometimes life takes you in different directions, and, this direction was an interesting direction for me. And I don't know if you're ready to turn into, what I'm doing right now versus the Nebraska thing.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. We can bounce back and forth.
Yeah, because
everything plays into where you are today, the entire thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the thing for me is football, you just never know. I mean, when it's going to be over. And so having a plan or a backup, I think is really smart. I mean, you see a lot of players now. Some players have businesses and play. They're business owners and they're playing in the NFL, or, some are doctors and playing in the NFL. I mean, it's just, it's crazy, but it's also smart.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely smart. You're right.
And so, I mean, for me, I could have never said, I'm going to buy a business when I'm 24. I never thought I would buy a business. I thought, I'm just going to play some football and, let's see how it works out. But
sock some cash away.
You get married, you have family, you get kids, your mind starts thinking just a lot. It quickly changes your mindset on how you are going to come up with some dough, right? How am I going to provide?
Yeah.
How am I going to, make a living?
Other people are depending on you. It completely changes your mindset.
Absolutely. And so,
which is even scarier going in and buying a business, starting a business when you have other people depending on you and that business.
You're taking a chance.
How it is scary. So when you finally jumped into that, what was something that you can remember that you loved X amount, a percent of the business, except for that part of it? Hate that part of the business itself, not that your business.
Yeah. No, the time commitment, sometimes you just want to turn it off. So owning your own business, you just never turn it off. And sometimes, like my wife and I will get to talking. It's like, nah, not tonight. It's like, okay, I get it. I know what you're saying. And it goes both ways. But, as far as the business I'm in, it turned out to be an opportunity where I could be involved in sports still. I could be involved in, keeping kids healthy. I could be involved in still being around, like I said, sports. And it was kind of a nice combination of, business, sports, and health. And so it really, to me, has become more and more of kind of like who I am and what I stand for. So there's things about it, that are tough. We have a lot of different manufacturers that we're depending upon in our business, just like a lot of other businesses. So we're heavily dependent on our manufacturers coming up with, good lead times and good products. And, we're really the sales and, build it type agency and design as well. So, and that's been fun too. So just using your creative mind and doing some things around going to a site and having a blank slate and saying, this is kind of what I see. What are your thoughts, customer? They give you the thoughts and then you bring it to life. Yep.
Did you buy an existing business and change the name?
Yep. So I was so fortunate to buy a business that had been very successful before we came in.
Since the 60s, right?
Yeah. Yep. The Churchich family. And it's another crazy story, and that's another guy you need to have on, is Bob Churchich, who played quarterback at Nebraska, and he does the same exact thing, or did. He's retired now, but I think it's, people don't know that, but Bob Churchich, had his brother is brother's son, Jeff Churchich, and Sue Churchich, who we bought our business from. And so it went from, Eli Churchich, who started this in the 60s, and then he sold it to his son, Jeff. And then we bought their business in 2004. So, they had the top-notch manufacturers, a great name, solid reputation, good contacts, and great installers, and people to work with. And so it just worked, and we, just like anything else, you work hard and you can be successful, and you put the time in and do the right things. I mean, we work hard, and that's why we're successful. Mm-hmm. We've got great people too. I mean, our business isn't what it is with just my wife and I. We've got great employees. And
how many employees do you have?
So right now there's 6 of us. We're probably 1 short, maybe 2. We have an internship program. We have outside salespeople that aren't in the office, and then there's 4 that are in the office.
So I want to talk a little bit about
small business.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
right. But that's great though.
Yep.
Yeah.
You really value your employees, become family, really.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, 100%. And that's kind of the mantras that we live on, is doing cool stuff with cool people. Like, if you have that team and you're lucky enough to build the team around you that you love going to work with every day. Like a month ago, we knew who Pat and JT were, but we had a great experience with her, and we're like, oh, we got to bring them into the family.
Yeah. So now we're part of Hurrdat, and it's just been seamless. You can tell that family. And you can tell, and I'm sure it is with Crouch Recreation too, that you walk in the door and you care about each other, and you enjoy going to work. So it's not like you're really going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the atmosphere that I'm shooting for. And, there's always things in business that you want to make better so that you're more successful, or you change things, not really more successful for yourself, but taking care of your customers' needs. I think once you can find a way to trigger that and make that work, then it seems to come back to your business as being more successful, and things go smoother.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about resiliency. So reading a little bit about you growing up, maybe had to grow up a little bit faster than most kids your same age.
Sure. I agree.
Playing at Nebraska is not an easy place to play. There's a lot of weight on your shoulders, especially, I'm sure there was a lot of
pads
gravity.
are about 5-6 pounds, aren't they?
They're lighter now, aren't
And then
they?
the entire state on top of those pads.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How did playing football, both high school and collegiately pro, how did that prepare you? Or what lessons did you learn as you're getting ready to start your business?
Well, determination, competitiveness. You get to the business world and it's competitive. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of competitors, and they're all shooting for the same dollar that you're shooting for, and same customer too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just that's the way it is. I think Tom Osborne and all my coaches, I mean, even from Little League, just determination, the hard work, everything that it takes to try to get to the top. You're like, football sports is so good in teaching a lot of life lessons. And I mean, it's not rocket science. It's not like super, super, super hard. It's like, let's just follow some of these basic rules of engagement and how you talk to people, and doing things the right way. Mm-hmm. Businesses don't last long if you do them the wrong way. And if you don't take care of people the right way, that word spreads. It's like a restaurant. When you eat at a bad restaurant, you tell everybody. Yeah. You eat a good one, it's like, oh, another good one. You don't, but you hear the bad ones, and then quickly they're gone. And it's, running a bad business, treating people, deceiving people, not following through with what you say you're going to follow through with. And have I been perfect? No. I mean, but every day you're trying to come up with ways to get there. Less mistakes, ways to be consistent on how you go through the process with each customer, so that each time you do it, it's the same way, that you start to build a routine, and it's not all over the place. Mm-hmm. And so those are the types of things that I think create success when it comes to business. And it's very similar to what you do on a football field. You go to practice, you study your opponents,
I never thought about it that way.
Watch
You're right.
film, you go out and you practice hard. And then you've got the game, and the game is the meeting. The game is, once you get something sold, can you deliver now? Like, there's things that I'm always going back and forth with how I relate this to football, or how I relate this to training, or
that's a great
sports.
analogy.
And
I just never realized how parallel they both were.
Yeah.
Sports and business.
Yeah. I mean, they really are. And you learn a lot of lessons. Like I said, my coaches were huge. I mean, I had the right coaches. They were all really good, different ways, but really good in teaching me things that are going to make me a better person, which I think in the end makes you a better business owner.
Do you think, okay, so if you could grab your phone and slide into Eric Crouch, 25-year-old Eric Crouch's DMs with a little note, like, dude, make sure you keep your eye on this over the next 10 years, what would you tell him? Or maybe it was a big mistake that you made, or something you did that you wish you did differently, business-wise.
I would say I wish that I would have joined more business savvy owner groups where you can bounce ideas, networking. Yep. Because I'm still just starting to do that, really. And I wish that at 24, 25, I would have joined up with other people, because
it's great advice.
You learn so much from not just your peers, but people that have done it already. So when I'm 25, you're talking those 50 and 60 year olds that are just loaded with info on how to accomplish things in business, and take their advice and do it, and try to emulate that. And then you start to grow. And that's not the only way, but I would just say, look, if there was one thing that I probably missed, was too hard-headed. I'm going to do this by myself. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to learn the hard way, but there's ways, of making it a little bit easier on yourself, and not trying to go through the stresses of what business owners go through.
When we first started our business, that's the one thing that really surprised me, is how the business community helps each other out. I always thought people keep it close to their vest and not want to tell you how
secrets, how they made their money, right?
And it's the exact opposite of that. They want to help you and see you succeed, and you just help each other, feed each other. I was really surprised by that.
Yeah. So as we're recording this, we're in the middle of a pandemic. That pandemic has been great for some businesses. It's been, a death sentence for a few other ones. How has the pandemic and kind of going through all of this COVID stuff, has that hurt or helped your business?
Well, I'll tell you at the beginning, Chris, I was scared because they shut the parks down and the schools. So those are our two main customers, right? Park directors, so cities, municipalities, and schools. But what we found out was that people started to move from the inside to outside, and so, we had a lot of projects backloaded from the previous year, which is kind of how it works. So, I really don't know the full effect until probably next season, but it's almost like overwhelming of how much people want to do outside. And so, I feel like we could hire like 10 people right now.
It's
great.
Like, please. That is great.
So things are going well. There's zero complaints. I mean, there's a couple contracts that we had that we're considering, right on the line of signing or not signing, proposals, big projects that went through. They just said, we've got to do it. Like, we've got to go, this is the plan. Let's not let this derail us. And they did it. And I'm glad they did, because those are projects that, when you have a couple big projects, it helps your year. So, for us and that's been really good. So,
is there anything you changed specifically because of the pandemic, the way you did business, that you'll continue when this is all over, that because you've maybe cut some fat or changed some processes?
No, I don't think so. Not cutting fat. We need to get some more fat. Let's get fatter. But seriously, I think the things that for me, looking at this and how it's helped business, is that you can do a lot with technology. So, online meetings, quick things that really don't necessarily need to meet, can save some time. You get to see each other face to face on the video screen. No, it's not the same, but our jobs are going to the sites a lot. So we really need to see the site to give you some words of advice and things. But but not every meeting is a site visit. A lot of them might just be that, you know, if I look back and go, geez, how many meetings did I waste? And we can still get this done just like this. Let's get it done, you know? So that's helped. Technology's really changed, in how we use it. And so I think that is just, how can I get a little bit more business savvy and organized technology wise? So that's kind of pushed me a little bit. So I'm happy in that regards, because sometimes it takes something like this to actually push you to change. You know, and you get set in your ways, and no one likes change, because, you know, it's hard, and I got to change the way I do things, and I don't want to really think about it. I just want to do it, you know, like, so, and I think that's been good. So, you know, that's one way. Technology. I guess the other way of things that I think would be good to look at in the future for us are just, you know, with the pandemic is, and I don't know how long this will last, but you look at ways to, you know, space things out, or, you know, be sanitary, things like that. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's not right now, not probably top priority, but I know that it's something that we've been thinking about. So that's about it.
Well, you realize how important the parks were. So we live right by a park, and when we walked by it and we saw orange cones and like police tape over everything. And it was a sound difference. Like normally you hear aluminum bats and you hear kids playing. And when you didn't have that, it was like the silence was deafening. Yeah. Or like, hey, these people aren't out on the park enjoying like they normally would. And that's such an, like the pool and the park.
There's a reason it's there. I mean, people need to get outside. They, you know, want to socialize, have friends, do things with their family, and be outside. I mean, I don't know about you, but I love being outside. I mean, I even like being outside in the wintertime. I mean, it's, when it's real cold, but I mean, you know, there's just something about taking that fresh breath of air from outside and not feeling enclosed. And I think more and more people, you know, over the last, 10 years, myself included, have been doing more outdoor projects in my house, even, you know, like little patio areas, sitting areas, you know, outdoor living. So it's kind of been changing to, you know, let's work on some outdoor spaces for sports and kids play and physical fitness and things of that nature. So it's just been real fun for us to be involved in those projects.
Good percentage of everybody's, yards were on point this summer. You know, like everybody had so much time landscaping, with no weeds, nothing.
If you didn't take care of your yard this year, you really stuck out.
Right, yeah, really. You're right, you did.
Yeah, you don't get to have the excuse of, we didn't have time or we were too busy in the office.
You've been at home all summer, dude.
Yeah. Well, and this, if we try to find silver linings out of this thing, I think a large majority of people, like when you see what was sold out, like it was a lot of exercise equipment and people are like, hey, I really, really need this.
Well, and I'd say this, and I don't know, maybe it's just something for me, but like, I don't think so, is that you realize that you're capable of doing more yourself. You know, just the little things around the house that you might not have done before. You start doing things like that, or you go buy tools and you do it yourself. And you're like, well, we don't really want anybody in the house right now. Or
that's a good point.
You just start like, I'm going to figure out how to fix this jammed up sink, you know, versus calling the plumber, right? Then you realize you get through doing it. You're like, that wasn't so bad. You know, like you start doing some of these things and you really start, again, you just, I don't know, you learn.
I fixed a lawnmower just watching YouTube.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
I pulled apart a carburetor. I don't know what I'm doing inside a car.
And it works on the other side?
Perfect. Yep.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yep.
All you better like that one then.
Right. Right. Yeah. Seriously, better like it. So you talked about your family earlier. Is this, and you purchased a family business. Do you want to keep Crouch Recreation in your family?
I think so. Kids? I mean, we've asked our kids several times. I'd say one shows more interest than the other.
How old are your kids?
21 and 16.
Okay.
And so, part of me says, go work for somebody else, do some other jobs before you come work for us. But then there's the other part of me, let's just dive right in right now and just start early and just learn this thing. And someday you guys, every year that goes by, you're just kind of wasting time on learning the family business. And so I'm a little, back and forth with that. But again, I think I'll just leave it up to them. Like when they're ready to jump in, they can jump in. And, we could, like I always tell them, we just always could use your help. And I think I just leave it at that. And one day the light's going to go, my dad, mom said they need a little bit of help. So maybe I go work for them. So, we'll see. There's no pressure.
And that's good. And definitely that's good. Yeah. So we were talking earlier, obviously, about your Husker career, and before we started recording this, we were talking about former Huskers that they graduate, they go on play the NFL, they do whatever, then they either come back if they're from Nebraska, or sometimes just never move away from Nebraska because the fan base is so strong and they just want to support and they just love the football team and the university so much. How much do you think being Heisman Trophy winner Eric Crouch helped you in the business world?
I think a lot. I mean, it really did. I mean, and I'm not afraid to say it because, I worked hard in high school, I worked hard in college, and I work hard now. So, I mean, I think people respect that, especially from Nebraska. And I don't have to apologize for someone saying, hey, yeah, I'll let him in the door. But it doesn't say that you're going to get the business. Yep. I mean, it doesn't say, oh, they're just going to write you a PO. Here's your contract. I mean, that's not what it does. I would say more times than not, the door closes. I mean, that's just business, and you got to find a way to open it back up and show them that you can really do this and that your business is legit and that you're going to take care of them. And that's what the business world is about. I mean, a lot of it is relationship driven and a lot of it is how people trust you. They trust your business. And, I've heard it time and time again. We trust you. We trust you. We trust you. And so I love that. And I also want everybody to be a reference. I want every project we do, every customer to refer us. I don't want anybody that says that was a bad experience with them. That's just not going to happen because I'm not going to allow it. And so has that cost me money? Yes, it has. But I don't think you're going to see anybody out there that's going to say, if you go with them, watch out for this, or, this might happen, or they're not going to do this, or, there shouldn't be any of that. And I hope that, if someone's listening that has some of that, then please tell me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how we've handled things. And that's just kind of been a mindset of mine for a long time. But those doors do open, and hopefully you can turn those into, a good business relationship.
Yeah. Being Eric Crouch probably gets you a little bit further down the road, but if the business isn't functioning the way it's supposed to, or the product's not being delivered they want it to, that goes south pretty quick. I
mean, maybe they buy from you, but if if you can't deliver, then they start to look other places, and so
it's kind of a risk on your part too, because everybody's going to want to tell all their friends how they had a terrible experience with Eric Crouch's
they're going to want to.
They're going to look for it. So you have to, it's almost like more pressure on you because of your name and your history in the state and in football, because you have to be extra careful because they want to find that crack.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, we all have competitors, and it's good for business. It makes you better. And I relate that part of the business to being in the room with 4 other quarterbacks fighting for the number 1 spot. And so, you can handle it with grace and help those. I tried to be the best I could to elevate their game, to elevate my game. So, I mean, I like it when competitors come out with new stuff, I mean, that's great. I mean, that forces us to find something that we need, that's going to work for them. It's going to be better than that. So, this could be hours on top of hours conversation about those little things in business, because, I think that sometimes people want to own businesses. They don't realize, I didn't know it was going to be like that, like all that.
Right.
You got to think about this and all those little things. And if you're not, then maybe you've got a business that everybody wants to be in and don't tell anybody. Right.
Right.
But, ours requires a lot of thinking and a lot of planning. We're in the construction business. So, and we've got to build things that we say that you see on paper. We've got to bring it to life, like a house or a building. A playground is really no different. There's drainage, there's site work, there's concrete, there's seating. You got to do things the right way. There's compliance. Things got to be level. It's got to work. These things are getting built in a lot of public spaces. So the public spaces have to be right. They're risky, so they've got to be safe.
That's a lot. And you weren't, when you bought the business, an expert.
Yeah, no.
So how long did it take you to really to learn all that
stuff? I'm still not an expert. I'm far from an expert, but someday I might know something. But
hire good people.
Yeah, hire good people. But no, I mean, I think just getting your hands dirty with your equipment a little bit. I mean, I enjoy that part of it. I do like using my hands and being at a few installations. I mean, our business is mostly, design, consulting, sales. But we do, there'll be some projects where we, get the tools out and we've just got to get it done, some smaller projects, things like that. So, and that's where you kind of learn, because you have an appreciation for the other side, the people that are actually putting it together and doing all the work to bring it to life. I mean, there's a process, it's a team, it's a team of designers and the manufacturing team, and then the installation crew, or subcontractors or general contractors. And we've got great relationships with those guys, and they really have made our business look good. So
they all have to be firing, just like special teams, defense, offense on a football team. You're not going to win unless everybody's firing and doing their best.
Yep. And then you know what? In a football game, you have an interception, you have a fumble. I mean, it's going to happen. So how do you deal with it? It's adversity in the business world, just like it is adversity on a game day. So, you got to put it behind you, fight through, find a way to make it right. It's just like, you want to have to get it fixed quickly, because if you let that linger, it's just in a game. If you can't get it fixed quick, it's like the pass that the receiver drops. You see a lot of times they come right back to him. That way he gets another opportunity to make a play, and then that's behind him now. And now we're back on track. So the sooner that you can, fix those issues that come up, and they will, and the better off you are.
Yeah. So I was driving through North Platte, talking to my mom, and I saw on the front page of the paper, Eric Crouch, installs like this, this great new installation in North Platte, and the city's thrilled about it. Yeah. What are your favorite projects to work on?
I just like helping. I like helping people. I don't know that I choose one versus the other. To me, I'm just trying to help them upgrade their facilities. So I just enjoy every project, and I still learn. Playground projects are great. Anything that you can do for kids is awesome, and getting them to be active. I really enjoy the sports projects. We're just finishing up the new press box and bleachers over at Boys Town. And so, that's a fun project for us. And just because, it's football, for me, it's football, it's a football field, stadium. So, the scoreboard projects that we've done, those are fun projects, because all these projects are fun. They're unique. They're all different, and they all mean something different to your customer, but you get to see them. You go to Elkhorn South, or, go to Buell Stadium, and you see the scoreboards that we worked on and did there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
So what's next for the business? Like where do we go from here?
I'm always thinking about that, but I guess I'm not too eager to grow too fast. I've seen some companies that have done that, and that's kind of backfired on them. So I'm just excited to continue to do well. I think that organic growth of doing a good job on your projects is going to naturally grow. I don't need to go hire 5 or 6 salespeople and bring all this other stuff in, and we can't handle it, either on a subcontractor or general contractor side, because, our projects just can't be installed by anybody. They are certified. They work with your product. You got to teach it. It's a process, just like anything else. And so, but, if you're not looking at growing your business, then what happens is, you can flatline or start falling behind. So you got to be very aware of that as well. So, I kind of have some goals in my mind about where we want to be in terms of, total dollars sold type of thing. And so I don't know. My goals, again, aren't necessarily people. It could be sales numbers. And I think that's more of, we've got a lot of new products, so we're not bringing a lot on. We just have a lot of opportunity with the products we already have. So those are just getting out there and finding those projects and winning those bids. And right now we're, like I said, we're doing really well with that. We cover our territory is South Dakota, Nebraska, and Potawatomi County, Iowa. We get called a lot to expand. And I don't know if I, have interest in expanding to other states or not. It just, it's a possibility, but the people that we do business with, our manufacturer is basically kind of a distributor. So it's you have rights. So I've got rights to these states, and the person that's in Iowa and in Minnesota, those guys are all, probably selling their businesses to their family members. you know, kind of like what happened here. So the odds that I would be expanding would be it'd be totally getting out of the business and, you know, here's the opportunity type of thing. So, which I just don't know if that would ever happen anytime in the next 20 years.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Eric, thank you for coming on with us.
You bet.
And, you know, of the hundreds of interviews I've heard with you, it's really, I've never heard that much about your business before. So I really enjoyed that.
Well, I've never, usually it's straight down to the, you know, X's and O's.
Yeah.
But no, I've appreciated that. And, you know, I'll give you some other names out there. I think you should.
That'd be great.
You know, get on here. And I think it's really cool to see that you guys have put something together that, because everybody's, what are they doing now? Where are they at now? What do they do? Oh, they do that. Well, I don't know. So to get like, you know, former Nebraska players on here that are, you know, in the business world and have been successful, I think that's really neat. So really like what you guys are doing and hope it goes well.
Awesome. Thank you.
A Hurrdat Media Production.